so I was telling you this offer, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
on air, and it is a bit of an exclusive here because we haven't really released this quite yet, but we're in the process of.
What if the truth came in a gel cap and we could just pop it in our mouths and forget about it? Well, it doesn't. And we can't. But we can laugh in the face of reality while plotting our survival. Welcome to the Truth Tastes Funny podcast. I am your host, Hersh. And if my guests can handle the truth, so can you. Open wide, folks. Here it comes. My guest today on Truth Tastes Funny is Abagail McKiernan. Abby is dubbed a professional do-gooder, and she's also the co-founder of a couple of companies. She's on a mission to make sure that everybody has somebody in their time of need by harnessing the power of technology to connect people, businesses, nonprofits, with over 100,000 needs met since 2017 through her nonprofit Spark in the Dark. She's now got her newest venture, which is an exclusive software called HelpLink, and HelpLink helps companies proactively remove barriers to work for their staff. And she is just a force to be reckoned with. We had a wonderful conversation off camera, and now we are jumping on for this interview. And I'm really excited to have her here. Abby, welcome to Truth Tastes Funny.
Well, thank you, sir. I always get very humbled by introductions from like, oh, like, I sound way cooler when other people talk about me. I love it.
Well, we all do. We all do. We all sound cooler when we have that third party validation, you know?
The
A third
MC.
Yeah, the MC could say the most flattering things that if you said yourself, they would say, "Wow, she's full of herself. Wow, she really,
Exactly.
hey, and now I have this help link software that's going to do all this amazing stuff." It's like, okay, lady,
That's
just
exactly. So if you just follow me around and come with me everywhere I go,
yeah.
before I walk into the grocery store, just grand intros,
Is that the
it's fine.
place you wish to most be appreciated? The grocery
No,
store.
actually, that's the one place that I am blind as a bat. Fun little fact, diving right in. And I have to wear glasses or contacts, and I can't see you otherwise, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
couldn't tell your eye color. And when I go to the grocery store, I always wear my glasses because people don't recognize me. And I live in a smaller community where, my name is out there a lot. And so I'm like, I just want to get through the grocery store and not talk to anyone.
Oh,
So
that's
actually, the
funny.
worst place to introduce me, I take it back.
Okay, so you don't want that. You
No,
don't want that, ladies and gentlemen, Abagail McKiernan,
exactly.
and then you come into the store with your I love the fact that you live in a small town, but you're kind of well known, and so you think that if you go to the grocery store with your glasses on, it's going to be like Superman and Clark Kent. They're not going to know that
I
this
mean,
is
I'm hoping so. They're really big, so I feel like they take up a lot of my face.
yeah.
And then if I don't wash my hair, I throw on a hoodie. People don't know what to do.
Yeah, okay. But
I'm
still, if
trying.
it's a small town, they just think that's a weird lady that comes they don't know that it's you.
That's true. Or maybe they see me and they're like, "Oh, she's wearing her glasses. She doesn't want to talk today,"
Yeah, leave
and
leave me
they do it
alone.
for
The
me.
leave me alone look. Okay. So this is fun.
Exactly.
We knew we would have fun talking, but I do like the term professional do-gooder, and I'm curious where that came from.
Oh man, you asked the best question. You don't even know it. Professional do-gooder. The phrase do-gooder became a Spark in the Dark T-shirt campaign where we had T-shirts that said do-gooder, and the reason is is actually because somebody who did not know me well and did not know that my heart is just really genuinely in helping people. And right, that is what I do for a living. That is what I do day in and day out. And an individual who was upset with me thought that perhaps I was just an affluent, wealthy woman who was bored and had lots of spare time and not a struggling entrepreneur with a bunch of kids. Right. And so he had, as an insult, called me a do gooder. Right. And you're just a do-gooder, right? Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Super rude. And I heard the word do-gooder. I was like, oh man, I love that. You're right. I am a do-gooder. That is me. So I took his insult and I put it on a t-shirt, literally, and turned it into quite a bit of money raised for my nonprofit. And now my actual title, which is to be a professional do-gooder.
Well, I love that because, people who what I think is people have to work and do business and go about their lives. They want to help, but they can't always help in terms of just donating money. Not everybody
Mm-hmm.
has money just to donate, but they have time or they have skills or they have a way of making their business more purposeful so that it helps other people in the process of helping support them. And it only makes sense. It makes sense, but I think there are people who resent good deeds because on the most favorable way I would put it is on some level they wish they were doing that.
Right.
Nobody hates anything that they don't want to do. It's always jealousy and stuff. Like if you see a wealthy person, you go, "Oh, that jerk, that well." That's because you resent the fact that they have something you don't. If you see
Right.
somebody doing good and being selfless, you kind of wish you were, and you're like, "Oh, look at that goody two shoes do-gooder."
Exactly.
It's like they kind of wish they could do it. So I think you're setting a great example. So that's where that comes from. Spark in the dark. Tell us about Spark in the Dark.
Yeah. So I launched Spark in the Dark back in 2017. And I launched it because my whole world was falling apart. And I woke up one day and looked around and realized I had no support system. I had no network. I had no way. I had totally isolated myself within a bad relationship and wanted to get out and realize that I went and burned most of my bridges in some way or another, right? Just by lack of communication. And so I was starting over and needed so many things and had nobody to ask for, right? For help when I needed it the most. And it wasn't because I was a bad person. It wasn't because I hadn't been working my whole life. It wasn't, right? I had just found myself in a position where I needed more than I had. And so I ended up at a church Bible study and witnessing this really incredible experience of two women talking, one younger, one older. And this young girl was telling the older woman about how she had finally gotten an apartment. She had been sleeping in her car and under a bridge for a full year, trying to save up money just to get a down payment for this apartment, and how she finally got it. And she didn't need anybody's help. She did it all by herself, right? I'm like, yeah, you go, girl, because that's the position I'm in at the time. And she's, tells this woman, like, I'm sleeping on the floor with my coat as a blanket. I own literally nothing except for my car and now this apartment. And this older woman who knew nothing of this girl before this conversation had said, I've got a bed set in my garage. I've been saying I'm going to sell it for years. How about I have my husband bring it over to you instead for free? And this girl, like, is just in shock, starts just bawling, right? She was so tough seconds ago. And then she just starts crying and just like, my own friends and family have given up on me. Nobody believes in me. Like, you don't even know me. Why would you help me? And this woman responded with, because I can. And that was it. That was the whole sentence.
Hmm.
Because I can, period, and a smile. And I thought that might be the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, it's
Yeah.
so it's so simple and there was so much impact and it cost that lady nothing. And it meant everything to somebody on the other end. And so I had a crazy dream. I woke up in the morning and thought, I know how I can recreate this moment, right? I know how I can connect people, put them on a Facebook group thinking I might help 5 or 6 people and feel really good about myself and gain, some of my community back in the process. I launched it with 50 people. I woke up, there were 350 people from friends inviting friends. There are now 32,000 members across
Wow.
Michigan. We have met 100,000 needs, very similar to the bed story, right? I have something, I need something, hand raised, whether that's purchasing the item, donating the item, giving the resource. 106,000 needs as of January of 2025. And we are continuing to grow and launch in new places. And it is humbling, truly humbling. And
Wow. And
now
it's
Yeah. And now I'm in a position where I've got this, an endless community, which is so cool.
Right. Right. Well, I was going to ask you, so it's grown and now what are you doing to kind of expand this beyond your home state and your where this is what's happening? What's in the works with it?
Well, so that's actually where HelpLink comes in, which is
Right.
the software is on this journey. I've noticed, like all good, if you're paying attention to your business and your organization, notice the flaws and the hangups and the hiccups. And so my business partner Dan and I had started developing HelpLink with the goal of these 100,000 needs. Probably about 30,000 of those needs have been work related. So they've been either I need to get to work, I need to find work, I need to keep my job, and here is the reason I can't. My
Hmm.
car broke down. I just got the new job, but I can't afford the work boots. I don't have gas because I haven't been paid in a month. And now I got the job, but I can't get to the job, things like that. Right. So we started developing HelpLink, which is a software that is scalable nationwide and eventually worldwide that allows people to ask for very similar things that they would on Spark in the Dark. But then people can donate monetarily, including the companies that they work for. And so what it's allowed us to do is go beyond Michigan. We've helped people in Nevada and Kentucky, and we're already this app that's just getting started is already kind of transcending those borders, which has been super cool.
So well, congrats on that. Because I
Thank you.
think I think a great idea, the beauty of it is, and this goes back to that do-gooder thing. I
Mhm.
look at it as it's, we're not, like you don't need to be treating it as though what you're doing is extraordinary in the global sense. What happens is you see something that makes you feel good and gives you a really good feeling, and then you want to replicate it. And it's not any different than if someone were to, grow up watching their dad, let's say, as an accountant, and they love the process of working with the numbers and doing the helping people figure out their taxes and whatever. It's like doing good things is supposed to make us feel good as human beings. And
Right.
so when it grows, it's contagious. So naturally, now other people are going to want to engage in this way. That the help link, how when is it launching? Like when are people all over the world, let's say, going to be able to log into like does this automatically become global? Like how does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's already launched. We've actually met 150 needs or something through the platform. What's cool about it is companies can sign up and individuals can sign up. And what happens on the back end of the software is that if an individual has a need and a company is donating to the platform, right? They actually automatically meet their employee needs first before it stretches into just basic community needs. So there's a lot of really cool ways where
Uh,
these needs are getting funded, not just by you and I having a heart to help people, but by companies who are stepping up and appreciating their employees and valuing that it's hard
okay.
to ask for help, right? It's
Yeah,
hard to
well
say,
that's
I need
that
help.
That's what is really amazing, Abby, is that so let's say somebody works for ABC company and they don't want to say anything, but they're registered on the thing and they need something. They need new boots, so they can't afford boots, and the company has put in, X amount to help. It'll automatically help that employee without the company having to really engage
Actively.
in the active thing, which might make the recipient uncomfortable, or just be a little less organized. Now it's a little more organized. Um,
It
you
really
know,
has streamlined it a lot for the companies that are using it. I feel like we've already seen it where it's paid, for a car repair bill and it's paid a car payment. And right. And employers had no clue that their staff was struggling with that. And it was like, hey, my car's getting repoed, right?
yeah.
Unless I pay this car payment, now suddenly the company pays the car payment and their car doesn't get repoed. Now they're going to work, right? And like the company had no clue that that was even an issue. They never would have asked HR. They never
Right.
probably would have had time to get it resolved by the time they went through the process. So this kind of streamlines everything.
That's an interesting point too, is the role that HR might play. It just there's so many possibilities to do good with this. Now, as far as Spark in the Dark, which is kind of the parent foundation entity, what is Spark in the Dark's kind of mission at this point relative to is HelpLink just a way to facilitate the mission?
It's so fun. So I was telling you this offer, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
on air, and it is a bit of an exclusive here because we haven't really released this quite yet, but we're in the process of. Spark and Dark was originally just essentially just a user of HelpLink. They were truly separate things, right? I had built HelpLink separate to building Spark, and HelpLink was working so well for Spark in the Dark for bills and things like that, right? So we were utilizing that and having our members use HelpLink to post things where instead of sending cash to someone, for example, right, we would have them essentially create a need and help link and then share that to the platform. It is working so well that we've decided it makes the most sense for Spark in the Dark to actually purchase the help link name and software and absorb the company so that we have exclusive use of it so that we can
Yeah.
take our whole mission nationwide. So we'll
Yeah.
actually start working on from HelpLink, we'll actually start working on an in-kind donation process through the platform. Right now, you can only donate money. And so we'll start building in some software that allows us to take our whole mission outside of Michigan, which we have not been able to do the way it is right now. So I'm actually super pumped for the next 5 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. And in terms of the distribution of, let's say, the contributions and
Yeah.
money and stuff, how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So, say I have a need posted in there that I need work boots, Hersh, and you go donate $10, and somebody else donates $10. We reach the $50 that it would take to buy those work boots, and then actually on the back end of that, HelpLink or now Spark in the Dark gets an alert that says, "Hey, this need has been raised. Go buy the item." They purchase the item. They ship it directly to the person in need. It is a huge issue in Spark and in poverty in general, where yes, I need food, right? But I can't get to a food bank because I don't have a car, or I work 3 jobs, or I have 4 kids and I don't have daycare, right? And so what we think is like, oh yeah, go to the food bank and get food, or is
Yeah.
never so simple as go to the food bank and get food. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And so, same with a lot of physical items. So, we choose to actually ship those items directly to the person. They land on the doorstep. The person gets the item, takes the photo, uploads a thank you to the software system. That thank you then goes out to every single person who donated, saying, "Hey, I got the item. I really appreciate it." Before they actually can ever post another need. Keeps everybody honest. It keeps gratefulness at the forefront of the platform. And it's really kind of that overall reminder on both sides of what we're all utilizing the software for.
That's amazing. I love it. When we talk through these stories on Truth Tastes Funny, and the goal is always to uplift people, inspire them, and also give them ideas. How they can help, how they can get through stuff. And this leads me to ask a little bit about this moment in time and relating to the world and just kind of humanity as a whole. Uh, what are your thoughts on um, how to keep people motivated to do good in the world? We kind of had a laugh about it before about people being envious and jealous, but when you're out there and people are struggling and people are unsure, there's a lot of uncertainty, and it's a global thing. It's not in any one place. There's just a lot of uncertainty. Uh, what have you found to be a coping mechanism for uncertainty in the world?
Yeah, man, the world is a lot right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I feel like the news and everything only amplifies that because fear is easy to sell.
Hmm.
Uh, and I think it's really important not to create a microscopic view of your world, but also, yes, the world is scary. There's war, there's famine, taxes, and tariffs, and all the things, right?
Yeah.
But also, like, pay a little bit of attention to the neighbor who just helped you, right? Or the person who bought your coffee randomly, or go be the person, right? If you don't see the good in the world, be the good in the world is a long-standing and annoying sentence for my children, right? Like, uh, who is it that Mr. Rogers, right, has the saying of like, look for the helpers. And I think it's really easy to get scared. I think it's really easy to feel alone and to feel isolated and to feel like everything sucks and the world is all bad. Um, I can't speak for you, and maybe it's because of the environment I've created for myself, but I don't see that very often in real life, right? I still see people helping people, and I still see these tiny moments of kindness. And sometimes I got to sift through some nonsense to get there, but I think that is really the most valuable for me, at least, asset is this ability to see the good and find the silver lining and then amplify that, right? Stop sharing this scary news story. Like,
Yeah.
stop sharing, right? Don't go on a tangent on your social media about how you feel about politics, because frankly, nobody cares, right?
Yeah.
And all you're doing is feeding into this poison when you could have taken those moments to share something uplifting or powerful or joyful. And right, doing those things amplifies those things. So,
It's a fantastic point because unless we're in, unless it's our job or we're an activist, that's our thing, and that issue is our particular responsibility. Um, you know, absorbing all the news and running out and acting on what we hear globally, let's say, versus locally, right? Uh, we're powerless and disheartened or scared or
right,
excited. But either way, we're not doing anything, and we don't know, we only know what's true in our four corners. We really should look around at our, I love that. We look around at our family, at our neighbors, and if we lived in a world without the internet, prior to
mm-hmm.
the internet, we would have much less association with every single thing. And it would
Right,
be like, we would be like, okay, well, so and so down the block needs help. I got to do something for them. And I think kind of looking back into our families, our neighborhoods, we're more likely to see, as you point out, Abby, the good, kind-hearted people helping people, less divisiveness. I very rarely meet people. I meet people from a lot of different backgrounds and political beliefs. I very rarely get into arguments with anybody. And that would suggest to me that they're not looking for an argument, even if they
right,
differ in their point of view. They're looking
right.
for they're looking for commonality, or they're looking for synergy. They're not here in the room with me because they want to fight. And that's what I've been seeing, and that's where I draw my inspiration from. Um,
I think
and
I'm an avid believer that we, you know, trying to find a way to say it politely. Uh, but I don't think anybody thinks that they're a bad person. I don't think
yeah,
anyone wakes up in the morning and is like, I am going to be the villain of my story today.
right, right,
Right? Like, when's the last time you met someone that thought that they were the problem?
yeah,
Psychology would suggest that we are never the problem. We're the center of our story. And
right.
right, we are the antagonist. Everyone else is, I'm sorry, we're the
We're the
protagonist. Everyone else is
protagonist.
the antagonist. And everybody else is bad or good in relationship to
Yeah,
us and to who our hearts, right? And
yeah,
so it's one of those funny things where when I see somebody behaving poorly, I'm like, they don't know that they are behaving poorly, which whether that is questionable or confusing, entirely separate.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but you say, when's the last time the last time would be watching Minions or something, where Gru is like a villain, but meanwhile Gru is a villain who is actually a hero. So I think our tendency is to see the heroic in ourselves because that is a naturally that is a naturally good feeling to have. Um, so I like to give my guests the last word. You've shared so many great thoughts and insights and information. But first of all, let the audience know where they can find you. And then maybe since we're still in the early part of the year, maybe something that you think would be helpful for people to kind of carry into their day to day this year.
Yeah. So the best way to go donate, which is always my biggest call to action for everybody, is go take your $5 and go help a stranger. Right? Just go do something cool that isn't for you. Which obviously the best way, in my opinion, to do that is to go to helplink.org/give. You can see a whole list of unmet needs in the system, and they range from I need new silverware because I just got out of an abusive relationship to, oh my God, I have a medical bill that is surmounting and I will quite literally die without it. Right. I mean, there's
Wow.
everything from silverware to medical bills on there. So helplink.org/give is a great way to go and donate a few dollars and change somebody's life. Uh, Going into the year, let me think because it's important. I feel like how you start your year. Let's go on this theme of the world is chaotic right now. And I think it is more important than ever for people individually to take responsibility for their actions, their responses, their behaviors. So I'll leave you with the one that I tell my children all of the time is respond, don't react. Do not fall into the very bad habit of reacting to something that is in front of you, right? Take the moment, pause, think through it, and then respond. And there's a huge difference in the two. So I would encourage you to spend the year learning to respond, not react. That, yeah, that one. That's the good one.
Thanks so much for tuning into Truth Tastes Funny. If you enjoyed the experience, please leave a 5-star review and share this podcast with your friends.